Kiddie. What is a kiddie game? Well, in the past, Kiddie would have been defined by the gameplay mechanic. Kiddie was normally that educational game that tried to teach you simple things like math, shapes, or the alphabet. Kiddie was the game that if you were past the age of 5 had the concept of you have to be an idiot not to beat this game. Today the definition of Kiddie seems to have more to do with the look of a game instead of the style of play, and most of the people that come up with said definition are people who either just started gaming this generation or last generation. The problem with the definition of Kiddie this gen is that it isn't really defined correctly. It's simply a word that's used by comparing a certain game's visual theme to another. This game is rated mature, it's dark, gritty, bloody, and has swear words in it, so that must mean that a game that's the exact opposite is Kiddie. I see this whole situation as two styles of gamers in their own groups, new school gamers and old school gamers. Now the term mature is something that a lot of us old school gamers can't really take serious anymore, and the reason we can is because we're adults now. I can actually understand why the new school gamers would take the mature rating a lot more serious than the old school gamers do. For a lot of us, the mature rating gives off more of a been there, done that feeling. Blood in a video game? Been there, done that. Swear words? Been there, done that. Dark theme? Been there, done that. Everything that represents the mature rating today is something most old school gamers have already witnessed, and chances are most of us who witnessed it as kids. And because of that, the mature rating for a lot of old school gamers is nothing more than a gimmick used to get kids to buy a game by telling them they're too young to play it. So it makes sense that a lot of us would never use the mature rating as a way to prove our adulthood, mainly because we already fell for that as kids. That's why the mature rating comes off more as a gimmick to get kids to buy something by telling them they can't have it. To a new gamer, however, the mature rating is more of a way to differentiate a game for kids and a game for adults. Remember that new school gamers lack the knowledge a lot of old school gamers have. When Capcom made Street Fighter 4, how many of you old school gamers knew that it was just a matter of time before another version of it was going to be made? How did we know? Because we've already fallen for it. But the new gamers had no idea, so when Capcom made Super Street Fighter 4, for us old school gamers, that came off as no surprise. Due to our knowledge of the past, a lot of old school gamers now look past the mature rating. It doesn't mean we won't buy a game simply because it has a mature rating, it means we'll always look past that rating when purchasing a game, while at the same time not automatically seeing something as kiddie simply because it's colorful or rated E. The problem with the new school gaming generation is that for the most part it's made up of people in the same age group as the old school gamer, but with a completely different mindset. The new school gamer has the same mindset that a lot of us old school gamers had as a kid. So when a new school gamer says, I play mature games because I'm an adult, the old school gamer thinks, are you fucking serious? Old school gamers can't take that phrase serious because, as I said, that's exactly what we said when we were kids. Remember Mortal Kombat and the huge problem a lot of parents had with it? As a kid, didn't that kind of make you like it even more? The more people were saying these games are too violent for us, the more we said, I love this fucking game. If the news ever talks about a game in a negative way, chances are kids will want to play that game even more. Now let's talk about Nintendo. I think one of the main reasons why a lot of Nintendo games get seen as kiddie is due to the games they're being compared with. If a game is dark, gritty, with swear words and blood, and that's rated mature, then that must mean bright, colorful, no blood, or no swear words, and rated E is the exact opposite. So if this game is rated mature, then it must be for adults, which means this game must be for little kids. New school gamers and old school gamers can't come to an agreement because they all have the exact opposite way of thinking. The rating of everyone to a new school gamer is really the rating of kiddie in disguise, while for an old school gamer the rating of mature is really a rating of kiddie in disguise. So for an old school gamer, hearing a kid swearing and acting crazy in a game like Call of Duty makes perfect sense. The rating on that game is going to attract kids to it, and it's also going to attract new school gamers. Said in a different way, new school gamers and kids are going to be attracted to the mature rating, ironically, for the exact same reason. So the kid gamers of this generation see the mature rating and think, oh hell yeah, I need to get that, it's for adults. The new school gamers see the rating and think, oh hell yeah, a game for adults, I need to get this. And most of us old school gamers think, mature rating, been there, done that. The mature rating worked best when we felt that it implied that it wasn't for us. To me, an adult gamer trying to base their maturity or adulthood on what video games they play is like a 40-year-old sneaking into an R-rated movie then bragging to his friends that he got to see an R-rated movie. Why bother bragging about something you felt was meant for you anyway? Just buy your ticket, sit down, and watch the damn movie. Bragging about seeing an R-rated movie was fun when you knew you weren't supposed to, not when it's perfectly okay. So when I see a game now with a mature rating, that means nothing to me, so I look past the mature rating and try to see what the game has to offer me. If all it can offer to me is the things I've already seen and done, then the rating means nothing. When I got my PlayStation is when I was introduced to the mature rating. Swear words in a game? I never seen or heard that before. Blood in a video game? Well, besides Mortal Kombat, I hadn't seen that before in a video game either. But now, I could care less. It's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to get a new school gamer to accept a game like Mario if they already got their definition of a mature game from a developer instead of gamers. It would be like people trying to get us when we were kids to play a game like Clay Fighter while everyone else was talking about Mortal Kombat. The game isn't kiddie, but when compared to Mortal Kombat, our attention goes straight there. Of course, Mario isn't really a kiddie game, but the only people that'll understand that are the people who've been gaming long enough to already have been introduced and gone through the phase of the mature rating. And with that, we can see that the word kiddie was created through the word mature. The word kiddie would have never existed in the gaming world had the mature rating not come along. And since majority of the games that have a mature rating have the same basic theme to it, the conclusion is made that anything that has the opposite theme must be for kids. Remember, a lot of kids won't buy a game like Mario for the same reason the new school adult gamers don't. They both believe that it's made for kids. The kid won't buy it because they want to play the games that they believe adults play. The adults won't buy it because they believe it's made for kids. Both groups end up hating the game technically for the same reason. In most cases, mature for them is based more on the look. The Wii does have some mature games, but the visual style of the games themselves for them give off a kiddie effect to the new school gamers. So in the end, guys, I personally see the term mature as nothing more than a gimmicky word that used to work on us before, then stopped working when we got tired of it, and started working again when the newer gamers showed up. Developers aren't going to fool us with the mature theme anymore, but the new school gamers, they're easy. To me, the term mature gamer is like a phase. A phase a lot of us went through when we were first introduced to games with the mature rating, and chances are most of us, not all, but most of us were kids. And as kids, it was a lot easier to suck us into that phase because we wanted to be mature gamers. Playing something that we had no business playing? Hell yeah. Mature pretty much meant not for us, and it was because of that that we wanted the game even more. And now, it looks like it's time for the new generation to experience the exact same thing.